I've been in the automotive industry for about the past 15 years. The first part of my career, prior to about 3 years ago, I worked exclusively with dealers for a number of different OEMs. But since I've been at FordDirect, certainly have built some really great relationships with the Ford dealers and Lincoln retailers. And yeah, I've worked in a number of different industries, serving a number of different types of businesses. But once I got in, I was like, yeah, this is home. This is where I belong. The core problem that we set out to solve is that dealers are busy. They run incredibly complex and demanding businesses that grow more and more complicated over time. But their two main priorities are the selling and servicing vehicles. And month over month, they're trying to figure out a way to do that better. The challenge is finding the right tools and the partners and the resources that can help them do that. And that's a job in and of itself. And that's the pain point that we aim to solve by curating a marketplace built specifically for dealers. We remove the noise, we make it easier for them to find trusted, relevant solutions so that they can stay focused on what they do best. We spent about 3 months doing nothing but listening and learning and gathering insights. And we talked to everyone that we could. We talked to dealers, retailers, we talked to vendors, we talked to individuals who had experience building or supporting similar platforms, really because we wanted to understand what had worked for them, what hadn't, and where there were gaps. We had conversations internally with our colleagues at Ford, all with the goal really of understanding how we could create something that was truly valuable. And we talked to dealers a lot, especially before we launched. You know, they're a central part of the discovery process, because if it wasn't going to work for them, then we knew it wasn't really going to work. And our goal was to build a solution that didn't just check boxes, but one that actually made life easier for all the key stakeholders. And that's really what guided every step of the development process. I think the moment I realized this was a game changer is when we started mapping out all the different areas of a dealership's business that we could actually help support. And once we saw how many tools, products, and services we could curate to make dealers' lives easier, it just really started to feel limitless. It was like, wow, this isn't just about solving one problem. It's actually about simplifying the entire ecosystem. And the more we dug in, the more opportunity we saw, and not just for Ford dealers and Lincoln retailers, but well beyond that. And that's why we say in our vision, the shop is for Ford dealers, Lincoln retailers, and beyond, because once we understood the full potential of the platform, it was clear that we could scale to make a real impact across the industry. And that's when it really kind of clicked for me that this could truly be a game changer. If a dealer's skeptical, I totally get it. There are a lot of solutions out there that claim to help, but not all of them deliver. I think, the principles are critical to that. And I think, on top of that, the fact that the shop is powered by FordDirect is, essential to us building trust. FordDirect is built to be a trusted advisor to dealers. And we have a field team that works directly with the dealer network as a true extension of their business. That's a role that I was in for a long time myself. And I can tell you that experience gave me a deep respect for everything that dealers and retailers do and the impact that they have on their communities. So, the shop just isn't a product, it's an extension of that relationship. And that's why I believe that it's worth their trust. We take vendor vetting seriously because if it's not going to deliver real value to the dealers, it doesn't really belong in the shop. And we call this our curation process, and that starts with intake. That's where vendors give us an overview of their product and service, and we ask a few key questions, things like how long they've been around, what their solution actually does, and most importantly, what's their value proposition? How do they measure success inside of a dealer's business? That gives us a sense of whether this is something that can truly make a difference on the ground. And we also ask how they found out about the shop. And I'll be honest that my favorite responses are the ones that where a dealer referred them. That tells us that they're already doing something right and they're making a positive impact. That kind of endorsement really carries a lot of weight in our curation process. If the initial info works out, we invite the vendor to do a full demo of their product, and we bring in our teammates from across FordDirect to get their perspective, especially from folks who may be subject matter experts in those categories, and that feedback helps us to decide whether the vendor's worth moving forward with. From there, we start reaching out to their dealer references, and this is a big part of the process because we want to talk to real dealers who are using the product, get their honest take, learn about their experience, and validate everything that we've heard so far. We also do some external research, checking reviews, business ratings, and anything else that adds context. And if everything still looks good, the vendor goes through a technology, security, and privacy assessment just to make sure that they meet our standards. And of course, we work to negotiate pricing and terms that are favorable for our dealers, because at the end of the day, it's not just about offering a solution, it's about offering the right solution at the right value. And if all that lines up, then we move to an agreement and launch. And it's a thorough process, but it has to be because we're curating this platform with dealers in mind every step of the way. Yes, we definitely heard some hesitation from dealers, especially early on. And honestly, we expected that because change always comes with a bit of skepticism, especially when it comes to how they run their business. There's one dealer in particular that stands out. They're large, well-established, very influential dealer. And when we introduced the concept of the shop to them, their initial reaction was that it might be more useful for smaller dealers, maybe stores that aren't a part of a larger group. They didn't immediately see the value for their operation. But fast forward to today, and that same dealer has engaged directly with vendors through the shop and is actively using 2, maybe even 3 different products from the marketplace. And to me, that's a huge success story. What changed was that it came down to convenience and efficiency, and they realized they could quickly find trusted solutions in one place, see pre-negotiated pricing, and connect directly with vendors without a bunch of back and forth. And it became less about whether they needed it and more about how much easier it made things. And that's exactly the role that we're trying to play here. For every type of dealer, whether you're a large dealer or a small dealer, part of a group, or flying solo, we're building something that helps you move faster, make informed decisions, and focus on what matters most. So I call that a tremendous success story. The process for a dealer using the shop for the first time is actually really simple, and that was intentional. It starts by visiting theshop.com. We kept the URL really straightforward so it's easy to remember. And once the dealer's there, they log in using their Ford credentials. Login step isn't required to browse the site, but it is to access the pricing information and to start engaging with the vendors in the shop. And that's really where the value kicks in. So once you're logged in, you can start exploring. If you know exactly what you're looking for, you can head straight to it. But if you're just browsing or looking for inspiration, we've built filters into the search results page to help narrow things down. And you can filter by department, by business objective, like generating revenue or retaining employees, or by a product category. From there, you'll land on a product detail page and learn more. Just hit the contact vendor button, and your information goes directly to the vendor in just one click. And if you're ready to move forward, you can add the product to your cart and submit a purchase request directly from the website. And that's it. It's designed to be quick, easy, repeatable. Dealers can use the shop as often as they like to discover new tools, vet new vendors, and ultimately find solutions that will help them grow their business. One of the biggest values that the shop offers, and just reducing the need for in-depth vendor research on the dealer's end, really comes down to how we design the marketplace. The focus has really been on breadth over depth. And what that means is we cover a wide range of areas within the dealership, but we're not trying to overload each category with dozens of redundant products. We intentionally keep things curated so it's manageable and meaningful. And during our vetting and curation process, we're doing the research for the dealer. We're digging into the vendor's value proposition, their performance, their dealer references, security, pricing, all of it. And if we believe they bring real value, they make it into the shop. We don't want to mirror the open market. That's not helpful. If you're staring at 20 options in a single category, then we've missed the point. But if we can narrow it down to 2 or 3, maybe even 4 solid options in a category, then we've done our job. And that gives the dealer real choice without overwhelming them. Last year, our focus was more on breadth, making sure that we had a wide range of categories covered. This year, we're digging a little deeper into those categories to make sure that solutions we offer are not only strong, but tailored for different types of dealers and business needs. So instead of spending hours researching vendors on their own, dealers can come to the shop, know that the vendors have been vetted, and find the right fit for their business fast. The biggest way that the shop helps dealers make smarter financial decisions is by cutting out a lot of the guesswork. And we know that trial and error can be very expensive. Dealers can end up wasting a lot of time and a lot of money on products that don't deliver. And what we're trying to do is take that part out of the equation. Through our curation process, we're eliminating the duds up front, or at least trying to. So instead of rolling the dice, dealers are choosing from vetted solutions that have a real track record of success. And that alone can save thousands of dollars and countless hours. And then there's the pricing. While dealers are incredible negotiators, what most can't do on their own is walk into a conversation with the power of 3,000 other dealers behind them. But we can. Through the shop, we're able to leverage the collective buying power of the Ford and Lincoln network to secure pre-negotiated pricing that most individual stores wouldn't have access to on their own. So when you combine time saved, costly mistakes avoided, and better pricing right out the gate, that's what smart financial decision making looks like. And that's what the shop is here to support. So one of the biggest ways that the shop helps dealers to stay up to date with the latest tools and tech is by staying really in tune with the industry ourselves. We keep our ear to the ground. That means listening to what dealers are asking for, paying attention to shifts in the market, following trends in regulatory compliance, and attending industry events and trade shows to stay close to the action. We also lean on our relationships with innovators, people who are pushing the boundaries and solving real problems inside the dealerships. That helps us stay ahead of what's coming next. Another big piece is speed. We identify a valuable solution, we can move really quickly to bring it into the marketplace. We're not buying or white labeling the product. We're forming collaborative relationships with these vendors who are aligned with the mission to support dealers. And that gives us flexibility and agility, which means that we can bring new relevant products and solutions to the market faster than a lot of other channels. And then finally, we make education a priority. We are big believers in leading with insight. Dealers respond when you show them the why behind a product, not just the features, but the impact that it can make. So we work with our vendors to share meaningful data, stories, outcomes that help dealers make informed decisions about what to implement into their business. And that's really the goal, to give dealers not just access to the latest tools, but the clarity and the confidence to really use them effectively. One trend I think dealers really need to keep a close eye on right now is the need to strengthen the fixed operation side of their business. While sales can certainly be uncertain based on a number of different factors, the service department is key to long-term profitability and customer retention. The challenge that we're seeing is the increasing defection rate of customers to independent repair facilities. And that's starting to cannibalize not just the service revenue, but future vehicle sales too. Because if a customer doesn't come back to a dealer for service, then they're much less likely to come back when it's time to buy again. That's why it's so important for dealers to invest in tools and strategies that help them retain service customers. Things that clearly communicate the value of the dealership service and also that improve the overall customer experience. At the end of the day, the goal is to create an experience that customers don't want to settle for less than. This is an area where the shop can be a really big help, whether it's through appointment scheduling and retention tools, warranty automation, or service lane technology. We're curating solutions that help dealers protect and grow this really critical part of their business. What's next for the shop? Honestly, a lot, and it's all exciting. First, we're focused on continuously improving the user interface and the experience on the site. We want it to be as intuitive, seamless, dealer-friendly as possible. That means making it easier to search, compare, and engage with solutions that can help their businesses grow. But I think one of the biggest updates is actually this video series. This is our first step in building a true community around the shop, a space for forward-thinking dealers who are looking for an edge, and dealers who want to be the tip of the spear when it comes to innovation, customer experience, and performance. Through this video and future content, we want to create a platform where those dealers can come to learn, be inspired, and share ideas. We've got a lot more content planned that leans into that vision, bringing insights, success stories, and strategies that help dealers thrive. Go to www.theshop.com and start shopping. If I had 30 seconds with a dealer, I'd say this. I know you're busy. I know your focus is on selling and servicing vehicles because that's what drives your business. The shop is here to help you do that better. We've curated a collection of proven high-value products and services that save you time by cutting through the noise, save you money through pre-negotiated pricing, and give you peace of mind knowing each vendor is vetted and approved. It's built for you with your success in mind.